Hello and welcome to episode number 16 of WITM Season 6. It is time for NXT, a stacked NXT. But before we dive into the episode, I just wanted to point out a couple of audio-visual changes that I've made starting with this episode. The first you may already notice is I upped the resolution that I capture in with the Elgato from 720p to 1080p, so hopefully you get a nicer, crisper image if you're able to watch in 1080p. And I lowered the frames per second from 60 to 30 since the software I use to encode and edit the episodes only renders in 30 frames per second anyway. At some point when I have a lot of free time on my hands, I want to get familiar with a editing software that will allow me to render in 1080p 60 or 720p 60. But for now, this will have to do 1080p 30 as long as there's no problems with the video. But anyway, let's dive into today's episode. It is NXT, and this episode is going to be formatted a little bit differently than a typical WITM episode. We are going to start off with two different promo segments. The first is going to see the man on your right, Aaron Danger, speaking. He's going to address what the future holds for the stable that he leads, the generation following Zims, a now former member of the generation and current member of the Legion, turned his back on the generation. So we're going to be hearing from Aaron Danger. We are going to see build up to the match you see on your screen right now, the NXT Women's Champion Roush, who will be accompanied by the leader of the generation, Aaron Danger, in the main event, defending the NXT Women's title against Charlotte Flair, who will be accompanied by her father, the legendary Ric Flair. And then, as far as our in-ring action, we are going to have a little bit of bonus coverage. This is obviously not a match that involves a WIT member, which usually we do not air. However, because this match is important to WIT member Gerald, we are going to air probably the last minute or two of this match between Akira Tozawa and Gentleman Jack Gallagher, because this is a match from Group B of the number one contenders tournament for the NXT Cruiserweight title that Gerald is a part of. If Akira Tozawa wins, he is the winner of Group B and will advance, and Gerald will be eliminated from the tournament. If Jack Gallagher wins, Gerald remains in Group B and will face Tozawa on 205 Live in a match that would determine the official winner of Group B and the man that will go on to face the winner of Group A, Isaiah Swerve Scott, for the right to face Andrew for the NXT Cruiserweight title. And yes, I understand everything I just said was pretty complicated. I hope you got it all. And then, of course, our main event and our featured WITM match, Rose defending the NXT Women's title versus the Queen, Charlotte Flair. So as I said, we're going to be starting off with promo segments. Let's dive into the first one, where we are going to be hearing from the leader of the generation, Aaron Danger. Aaron Danger, the leader of the generation, is in the ring, microphone in hand. Let's listen and hear what he has to say. A lot of the NXT universe has been asking, what is next for the generation after the events of 3 weeks ago? In case you've forgotten, and I know I haven't, this is what happened. When you dream, I make the good girls bad and bad girls worse. Nice guys are last and some. Aaron Danger continues. Zims is a man I came into this business with about 2 years ago at the WITM School of Wrestling. During that time, I considered him to be a brother and was greatly looking forward to the day we could compete on a stage like WrestleMania or SummerSlam together. Our mission was right in the name of the stable. For the three of us, Zims, Rose, and myself, to become the leaders of the next generation of professional wrestling. But Zims apparently didn't trust the process. And so, he decided to take an undeserved call-up to SmackDown, align himself with Corey, who I don't trust farther than I could throw him, and judging by his weight, it wouldn't be very far, and my arch rival, Aot Master. And in attacking me, leaving his girlfriend Rose behind and joining the Legion, he stabbed in the back everyone who has supported him from day one, and that includes the NXT universe. So, thanks to the new cross-brand invitation... Let me say that again. So, thanks to the new cross-brand invitational rule, I'm going to do the following. Zims, I challenge you to face two people you stabbed in the back, in our house, NXT, at NXT TakeOver in your house in a week and a half. For a match that will see myself, in the debuting Matt Olson, an original member of the generation, with your girlfriend and the reigning NXT Women's Champion Rose watching at ringside, versus you and that painted up freak Aot Master with your fat beep leader Corey watching at ringside as we decimate his legion. In what will be the generation's last stand and statement as a stable. And Zims, if you think you're broken now, just wait until I get my hands on you. See you in 10 days, if you have the guts. Alright, so the challenge has been issued. Aaron Danger wants a match at NXT TakeOver in your house, which would see Aaron Danger and the debuting Matt Olson, who fans of WITM the prequel may be familiar with, accompanied by the current NXT Women's Champion Rose, representing the generation in the generation's final match as a stable, versus Aot Master and the former member of the generation, now member of the Legion, Broken Zims, accompanied by their leader Corey, in a match that would see the generation of NXT versus the Legion of SmackDown. That would be a huge match. The question is, will Zims accept on behalf of the Legion? We'll likely have to wait until SmackDown, which will be our next episode, to find out the answer. But for now, let's turn our attention to the promo segment for the NXT Women's Championship match between Rose and Charlotte Flair. To save some time, Rose and Charlotte Flair are already in the ring, microphones in hand. Let's listen in and hear what they have to say, starting with the challenger, Charlotte Flair. Rose, I told you 2 weeks ago that you're just not woman enough to be able to step up to the Queen and win. And then, of course, I proceeded to toss you around like a rag doll and make the easiest ascension to the number one contendership of a women's title that I've ever had. Rose, take some advice from the Queen. Hand me that NXT Women's title, walk away, and learn to stay in your lane, little girl. Rose responds to Charlotte. You know what, Charlotte? I actually agree with some of what you said. After all, I'm not tall and muscular like you, and I wasn't born into wrestling like you were. And I am, compared to you, a little girl. But I am a little girl with a dream. A dream of kicking your beep, shutting you the beep up, and leaving the Performance Center tonight still the NXT Women's Champion. After all, to paraphrase your father, to be the woman, you have to beat the woman, right? And that's exactly what I plan to do tonight.
Style and grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome to the Queendom. The Queendom, where the kings bow down. They relinquish the crown. Y'all gon' hit me now. I just turn that around and make you love me, love me, love me. The Queendom, where the kings bow down. They relinquish the crown.
Okay, well, Stephanie McMahon has made her way to the ring for a rare appearance. Of course, whenever Stephanie does show up, it usually means something big is about to happen regarding the women's revolution. Let's listen and hear what Stephanie has to say. Just a quick side note before we do. Rose and Charlotte are still supposed to be in the ring, even though there's no scene in which, as far as I know, you can have three women talking to each other at once. And I tried to adjust the camera angle so it looked more like Stephanie is looking at Charlotte and Rose as she speaks, but when I tried to do that, it crashed the game twice because WWE 2K20. So the camera angle isn't really going to look like Charlotte and Rose are still in the ring, but I guess let's pretend they are. Anyway, Stephanie McMahon speaks. What does she have to say? Well, it looks like we have quite the main event on our hands, and another great chapter in the Women's Revolution, don't we? But, let's up the ante a little bit. Charlotte, you represent the present of the Women's Revolution. The accolades you've already earned in your career are likely enough to earn you a WWE Hall of Fame induction. I don't see you stopping anytime soon. And Rose, and you, I see the future of women's wrestling. You're already a champion with a bright future ahead of you that includes more battles, the likes of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and many more. But for one of you, the NXT chapter of your career will end for good tonight, because the winner of tonight's NXT Women's Championship match will, of course, walk away with the NXT Women's title and remain on NXT. And the loser will leave NXT for good. Best of luck to both of you. Okay, so a huge bombshell dropped by Stephanie McMahon. The NXT Women's Championship match in our main event will now be a loser leaves NXT match. I guess you could say, in a way, title versus career. Although if Charlotte loses, she'll likely return to Raw and or SmackDown. And if Rose loses, she'll likely receive a main roster call-up. We've already seen her appear once on Raw. But still a huge stipulation added to tonight's match with the chapter of one woman ending as when it comes to their time on NXT. As Stephanie McMahon leaves the ring, Rose and Charlotte have some final words for each other away from the microphone. Let's take a look. Okay, so the stage has been set for tonight's huge main event with the NXT Women's Championship on the line between the defending champion Rose and the Queen Charlotte Flair. But before we get into tonight's main event, as promised, we have some rare non-WITM bonus coverage for you because this match is important to WITM's Gerald. Akira Tozawa from Group B comes in at 2-0. This is his final match of the group stages of the tournament. Gerald has already competed in his 3 matches and sits at 2-1. That means that if Tozawa wins this match, he will finish at 3-0 and clinch Group B, and Gerald will be eliminated. However, if Gentleman Jack Gallagher wins, was already eliminated from the tournament and sits at 0-2, Gerald will advance with him having the same record as Tozawa at 2-1 to face Tozawa on 205 Live, with the winner being the winner of Group B. So with that said, we're going to probably show the last 2 minutes or so of the match and of course the finish, so we know where Gerald stands in the tournament. Let's get that bonus coverage underway.
His shoulders are down. 1, 2. Frustration has to be mounting as he kicks out yet again.
Okay, we joined this match in progress. Both men have their bodies in the orange zone. Akira Tozawa has a signature build-up. Jack Gallagher has a finisher available. Which one of these men will win this crucial Group B matchup? looks like there's a good chance the next finisher will end this match. Will that be the case? Gallagher outships Tozawa into the corner. Both men, as you can see, are exhausted at this point, covered in sweat and battered. But which man will walk out with victory? Tozawa needs us to clinch Group B. Gallagher, he's just fighting for pride at this point, other than, of course, maybe a spot or two up in the division rankings. But Gerald is relying on Gallagher to win to keep himself alive in this tournament, as Gallagher lifts Tozawa up to the top turnbuckle. There's a punch to the head of Tozawa as Gallagher goes up to the top rope and suplexes Tozawa over halfway across the ring. That took a little bit out of Gallagher as well. High risk. Will it lead to a high reward? As Gallagher goes for cover, gets the victory, and Gerald will face Tozawa on 205 Live to determine the winner of Group B. Gerald remains alive in this tournament thanks to Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Okay, so I'm sure Gerald is elated backstage as thanks to Jack Gallagher, he remains alive in Group B. But now we turn our attention to tonight's main event. A huge main event with not only the NXT Women's title on the line, but the NXT futures of Charlotte Flair and Rose on the line. If Rose wins, she retains the NXT Women's Championship and stays on NXT a bit longer. If Charlotte Flair wins, she adds to the NXT Women's Championship, as she did in real life, to her already impressive resume that includes several reigns as Raw Women's Champion and SmackDown Women's Champion, and I believe she was a former NXT Women's Champion once as well. This would give her her second reign. The defending champion Rose will be accompanied by the leader of the generation, Aaron Danger, and what will likely be the second to last match involving the generation, as we already know that TakeOver in Your House, the generation will be competing for the final time as a stable. Her opponent, the Queen Charlotte Flair, accompanied by her legendary father, the 17-time world champion Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. We've had about as much build-up as we can possibly have for this matchup. Let's get this match underway. Winner is the NXT Women's Champion. Loser leaves NXT.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the NXT Women's Championship.
world will ease up. Try and make it look like it's all summer getting better. Cause I know how to play it pretty good against the measure. Everyone started out a little insane, but we learned pretty quick how to fake it for the game. But some of you never learned to drop the act, so under that skin of yours a heart attack. Cause everybody's so scared, we don't wanna go there. We don't wanna make a move, we got all our lives to lose. Living in the dark while we just playing a part. We're all alone, like I don't know what's going on. Somebody make a move, somebody make a move. Please somebody make a move. We all know what's going on. And if I had the answers, I'd have
Introducing the challenger from the Queen City, Charlotte Flair. And introducing the champion from Chicago, Illinois, she is the NXT Women's Champion, the Queen, Roush.
It's all about the NXT Women's Championship.
Alright, and there is the prize on the line. Of course, we know more than that on the line. For one of these women, they will be competing in their last ever match inside of an NXT ring. Will it be Charlotte? Will it be Rose? Who walks out with the NXT Women's title? Let's find out. The bell has rung. This title match is underway. Of course, 2 weeks ago, Charlotte made pretty easy work of Rose in non-title action. Will it be the same story this time around, or will Rose get her revenge and take Charlotte away from NXT for good?
Skill, determination, and power.
Charlotte forces Rose into the ropes. Now over to the other side, but misses with the lariat, and now they lock up center ring, and Rose trying to get the advantage. Reversed by Charlotte. Now Charlotte targeting the elbow of Rose, but Rose gets behind her, and Charlotte is able to do the same. Charlotte with an Irish whip into the corner. Of course, you see the legendary Ric Flair, as well as Aaron Danger, the leader of the generation, which for about 10 more days Rose is a part of, at ringside. You have to wonder what kind of factor they will have in this matchup, if any. There's an elbow strike to the head of Charlotte, but Charlotte catches the leg of Rose and forces her to the ground. Now Rose forced back up. There's a knee to the hips of Rose. Looking at the HUD, we are just about deadlocked right now. There's a drop kick by Charlotte, and a stomp to the leg. There's a kick to the gut, and a swinging neck breaker from Charlotte. Rose tries to use the ropes to get back to her feet, but is forced up by Charlotte. Rose reverses. Now Charlotte forced up to her feet. Hurricane Rana from Rose. Now Charlotte again forced back up, and Rose connects with a suplex. Charlotte uses a kip up to get back to her feet, and there's an Irish whip into the corner. Now Charlotte forced to the top turnbuckle, and Rose with a jumping several feet into the air to connect with that Hurricane Rana, and there's a spear, and that's going to send Charlotte Flair's body into the yellow zone. Rose goes for cover. Charlotte powers out at one. Now Rose targets the head of Charlotte Flair. Health-wise, Rose has the slight advantage at this point, but Ric Flair now with a distraction. They call him the dirtiest player in the game for a reason, and he is bringing that into play to help his daughter Charlotte Flair become NXT Women's Champion and remain on NXT. There's an elbow strike from Charlotte as Rose is forced to the apron right in front of Ric Flair to try to recover. And now Charlotte connects with this neck breaker with Rose hanging on the middle rope. That is enough to turn or to earn Charlotte Flair a signature maneuver. Can Rose recover following that distraction? That definitely swung momentum in Charlotte's favor, temporarily. Rose now has a signature maneuver as well. Looks like she's trying to turn them back into her favor. That will definitely help. A twist of Rose. Rose goes for cover. Charlotte powers out at 2 to keep her time on NXT alive. Now Rose with an elbow strike to the back of Charlotte. Charlotte forced onto the ropes. As my headset's about to fall off, so let me adjust that for a moment. Now Rose very courageously right in front of Ric Flair. Drives the head of Charlotte into the apron. I'm sure Ric Flair is not liking what he's seeing at the moment. As the head of Charlotte forced to the yellow zone, Rose, I think she's making a statement right now. She is punishing Charlotte Flair with Ric Flair definitely not getting enough social distance from these two women as Charlotte is punished. But here comes Charlotte trying to get some revenge.
There she goes, back in the ring now.
Charlotte heads back to the ring as Rose recovers on the outside. Charlotte has no choice but head back outside. She was about to win the title via countout. Or rather, win the match via countout. That would mean that Rose remains champion. And what that would mean as far as their times at NXT, I have no idea. But this match is continuing. But now we are close to another countout. Or, I guess we're farther away than I thought. We're at 7 right now. Charlotte's in a bad way if you look at her health. As Rose punishes her on the outside. Is Rose going to try to win this match via countout? I believe that is the plan. Actually, no. Rose heads back outside just in nick of time, as Charlotte did earlier, to restart the count.
Charlotte made her pay for her mistake there.
As they continue to fight on the outside, you can tell these women do not like each other at all. They not only want to win this match, but perhaps send their opponent on the injured list or in their career, no matter what the result of this match is. Charlotte tosses Rose aside and heads into the ring. Will she break the count? She will. Charlotte has a finisher built up as well. Rose, however, still the advantage health-wise. And she connects with a Russian leg sweep. And again, this is a normal match. This is not just no disqualification. This is not no countouts, but you would hardly be able to tell how this match has gone so far, as Rose punishes Charlotte in front of her leader in the generation, Aaron Danger. There's a kick to the gut of Rose from Charlotte as they continue to find the outside. Rose sent near the steel steps. Charlotte comes in at about 9. Does she break the count? No, she does not. Not win the title. What does this mean for the NXT Women's title and the careers of these two women? As Charlotte Flair and Rose remain in the ring, tired, exhausted, beaten, and battered, Stephanie McMahon appears on the video wall from backstage and addresses the situation. Well, you two ladies just had to make things complicated for me, didn't you? Luckily for you two, I have the solution. Unfortunately, tonight's broadcast is about to end. So, at NXT TakeOver in your house, we will have a rematch. It will be Rose defending her NXT Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair in a loser leaves NXT matchup. But this time, there must be a winner. So this match will be no disqualification no count out, falls count anywhere. And that also means no Ric Flair, no Aaron Danger. Just the two of you ladies fighting for the NXT Women's title and your time in NXT to continue. Best of luck to you both. We'll see you on pay-per-view. Okay, well, Stephanie McMahon having to call a bit of an audible, and honestly, me having to call a bit of an audible as well. I was not expecting the match to end via countout, but I guess with the animosity between these two women, maybe I should have. But nonetheless, we are going to see the third match in this rivalry and final match in this rivalry, at least on NXT, between these two women in 10 Universe days at NXT TakeOver in your house. But with that said, I'm going to head off screen and adjust the rankings based on tonight's results. I'll be back in a moment with your results and rankings update. Okay, and here is your results and rankings update for this edition of NXT. Finn Balor defeated Tommaso Ciampa in a match from Group A of the number one contenders NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament that honestly was meaningless to determine because both these men have been eliminated, but of course it does matter in the division rankings. Jake Atlas defeated Tony Nese. Dexter Lumis defeated Matt Riddle. Jack Gallagher defeated Akira Tozawa in his final match of the tournament as he is eliminated at 1 and 2. But in doing so, he keeps WITM's Gerald alive. He will face Akira Tozawa, who is now at 2 and 1 on 205 Live, with the winner advancing to a match versus Group A winner Isaiah Scott, which will be a number one contenders match for the right to face Andrew Spudstrong for the NXT Cruiserweight title. And to share, accompanied by Malcolm Bivens, their manager, got somewhat of an upset victory over Undisputed Era, represented by Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, and managed by Kyle O'Reilly, with Bobby Fish couldn't represent Undisputed Era because we didn't have enough managers. It doesn't allow 7 people to be in a match. And Charlotte Flair defeated Rose, but did not become NXT Women's Champion as it was via countout. The rematch will take place. Falls count anywhere. No disqualifications, no countouts at NXT TakeOver in your house in 10 Universe Days, our next pay-per-view event. And how does this affect the rankings on NXT? Let's find out. The NXT Cruiserweight Champion is Andrew Spudstrong. Number 1 contender, Isaiah Swerve Scott. Number 2, Tyler Breeze. Number 3, Gerald. Number 4, Jake Atlas. Number 5, Tony Nese. Number 6, Jack Gallagher. Number 7, Akira Tozawa. Number 8, Oni Lorcan. Number 9, Hijo Fantasma. Changing that soon once we get to the point that he did that in real life. Number 10 is Austin Rage. Number 11, Brian Kendrick. Number 12, Aria Davari. The NXT Women's Champion is Rose. Number 1 contender, Charlotte Flair. Number 2, Io Shirai. Number 3, Rhea Ripley. Number 4, Mia Yim. Number 5, Kacy Catanzaro. Number 6, Candice LeRae. Number 7, Aaliyah. Number 8, Kaden Carter. Number 9, Marina Shafir. Number 10, Jessamine Duke. Number 11, Mercedes Martinez. Number 12, Shotzi Blackheart. Number 13, Tegan Knox. Number 14, Vanessa Bourne. Number 15, Shia Lee. Number 16, Scarlett Bordeaux. Number 17, Dakota Kai. But of course, we know that Rose's next opponent, regardless of the rankings, will be Charlotte Flair. TakeOver in your house. And when it comes to the Cruiserweight title, the Andrew's next opponent will not be determined by these rankings. They will be determined by who wins the tournament, which at this point will either be Isaiah Swerve Scott, Gerald, or Akira Tozawa. The NXT Tag Team Champions are the Forgotten Sons, and were contenders in to share. Number 2, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Barthel of Imperium, and number 3, Undisputed Era. represented by Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, though I believe one or both of them are injured, so it might end up being... So Adam Cole might have to take one of their places. I know Bobby Fish is injured. The North American champion is Kushida. Number 1 contender Dexter Lumis. Number 2 Arturo Ruas. Number 3 Aaron Danger. Number 4 Bronson Reed. Number 5 Cameron Grimes. Number 6 Damian Priest. For the rankings for the time being, because he's not going to debut until that Generation versus Legion match at In Your House, if Legion accepts. So number 9 is Don Mansour. Number 10 Raul Mendoza. Number 11 Timothy Thatcher. Number 12 Karrion Kross. And number 13 Keith Lee. The NXT champion is Johnny Gargano. Number 1 Adam Cole. Number 2 Finn Balor. Number 3 Matt Riddle. Number 4 Tommaso Ciampa. And number 5 Velveteen Dream. So SmackDown is the next brand that will have a show which will take place in episode number 17. Will we see the Legion and or the Universal Champion Casey in action? Let's find out. Okay, and we will indeed see both the Legion and Casey in action. It's going to be the SmackDown Tag Team Champions Corey and Zims of the Legion taking on the former SmackDown Tag Team Champions in real life, The Miz and John Morrison. And then the Universal Champion Casey will be in action. It's going to be a rematch from last week. He'll be taking on the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, who, despite the injuries he suffered at the hands of the Legion, still managed to defeat Braun Strowman. Strowman will be looking for revenge. Casey will be looking for more momentum heading into Backlash. But that is going to do it for episode number 16 of WITM. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so don't miss a single moment of WITM action. If you're watching via our Facebook page, be sure to like the page, like the post, and perhaps leave a comment. If you would like to join WITM with your own custom car, if you have WWE 2K20 on PS4, you can upload your characters to Community Creations. Please use the hashtag WITM so I can find it easily, and then maybe leave a comment or shoot us a message on either Facebook or YouTube so that we know where to find it and we can contact you. Or if you'd like us to make a car for you, you can go to the link in the description and head to the WITM website and fill all of the information listed there. Episode number 17 will be SmackDown Live. As I mentioned, it will see Corey and Zims of the Legion versus The Miz and John Morrison, the Universal Champion Casey in non-title action versus Braun Strowman. And we are also going to get the Legion's answer to 2 different challenges. First of all, the Legion versus the Generation NXT TakeOver in Your House. And secondly, any 3, 2, or 1 members of the Legion, I guess the Legion's choice, versus Casey for the Universal title at Backlash. So it's going to be yet another stacked episode in episode number 17 for SmackDown. But that does it for this episode. Until that stacked episode 17, this is Corey with WITM Car Wrestling, signing off.